Hey guys, Michael the Comic Nerd here again. Just want to finally get around to doing this. I'm recording on my bed right now because you can kind of see it in frame. My desk is a mess and I just don't have the energy to clean up right now. I've been fighting off a fucking sinus infection for the past 3 weeks. So I was like, fuck it, I just want to get this done. It's on my list forever. I just finally now getting around to it. So yeah, welcome back to MTCN Catch Up. I am here to... We're getting close to the end of the year, so I want to take this opportunity to try to review as many of these movies I have on my list as possible before I start probably my best and worst list. So I'm going to focus on the movies that came out this year that people have been requesting me to do before I get to the ones that came out in previous years. I'll try to get to those sometime this month, if not this month, then next month. Basically, I'm trying to get as much done as I possibly can. So that starts with this movie, The Comedian, which has been requested me a long time ago. I just got so wrapped up in things, I just didn't get around to it. Finally had time to sit down and check it out. For those who don't remember this movie, The Comedian was a movie that came out, I want to say sometime between January and March. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. It came out earlier in the in the first half of the year, and there was Robert De Niro as a stand-up comedian who goes to jail because he punches out a heckler. And then he eventually meets up with Leslie Mann, who plays Harmony, and they kind of have a relationship of sorts, and that's really the long and short of it. It's basically he's a scumbag comedian, but he might have a heart after all. Maybe he's not so bad. That kind of movie. This is a movie I tried to go see in theaters. I think I just ran out of time or energy. I can't remember exactly why I didn't go see this in theaters. I think a large part because I just didn't think it was a movie that people care enough about to go see. Apparently I was wrong though, because I got requested to go watch this now by a longtime fan, Wind Rises. Hi, I'm assuming you're watching this. Thank you for the request. I'm sorry I don't like a lot of the movies you request. But yeah, when I saw the trailer for this, I remember thinking like, oh great, here's another unfunny Robert De Niro comedy. I feel like I get him once a year now, and yeah, this is exactly what I got. It's an unfunny Robert De Niro comedy. It's not as bad or as insulting as Dirty Grandpa. It's just really forgettable. I remember just being really bored watching this. And this is probably going to get short because I don't have a whole lot to say about it. At least nothing nobody else has already said. It's just the fact that for a movie about stand-up comedians, the writing's not very clever. Robert De Niro is not a good stand-up comedian. He's not funny. His humor is very lazy. It's Robert De Niro's stand-up in this one relies largely on racial stereotypes and poop or sex jokes, which with a good comedian can pull that off because inherently, in order to be a good comedian, you need to make it somewhat relatable. But here, Robert De Niro just hurls insults on people for 2 hours, and you're supposed to root for him, but he's just inherently awful from beginning to end, and there's no real reason to like him. He's not even funny. He just goes around insulting people. It's it's the kind of shit a first-year comedian would do. Some young schmuck who thinks he was more clever than he is because he can insult people. But that's not really good comedy. And it just makes him unlikable. It makes him unpleasant to be around because he does that through the entire movie. Leslie Mann is good. I can say that much. I like Leslie Mann in this movie. I think for what it's worth, I mean, she also starts out pretty unpleasant, but she at least gets through this movie with some dignity, I think, compared to some of the actors, including Robert De Niro, who, man, what happened? What happened to you? But, pardon me, I just gotta... Every year I get these goddamn sinus infections. God, anyway. So, yeah, the majority of the movie is just following the escapades of this really unfunny comedian, and who were all supposed... But he's not supposed to be unfunny. He's supposed to be funny, and you know that because everyone else is laughing. So you guys are like, oh, we're supposed to think this is funny. We're supposed to think this is comedy. We're supposed to think this is good humor. With actual comedians on stage, they're okay. They can get a couple laughs here and there. But whenever he's on stage, he just drains the life out of this film, and I'm just sitting there like, oh my god, let this end. And it's just painfully unremarkable for 2/3 of the film, and then the third act happens, and it just becomes awful. It becomes nearly unwatchable. Okay, maybe not that bad. I'm being a little exaggerated, I'll admit. But it's more like there's some twist that happens, and it feels really forced and just ham-fisted, and kind of comes out of nowhere. And all of a sudden, we're supposed to be a lot more dramatic elements, and people are supposed to get their comeuppance that I don't really know. Like, was that building up to that? Because it just feels like it comes out of nowhere and disappears just as quickly. There's a whole sequence with Robert De Niro in a nursing home making a song about poop, and again, it's like this. Where's the joke? I don't get the joke here. There's a lot of cases where he just tells these jokes about, like, I don't know, Jewish people or lesbians, or just basically just shock humor, but not good shock humor. And like, you can do shock humor well. It's kind of an art form, but it's a careful balancing act. But you shock humor by just throwing out insults at people, that's not good shock humor. That's just shock for the sake of shock. There's no purpose to it. There's no real drive. There's no relatable factor that can make you kind of laugh along with the shock. It's more like, this guy's just a fucking asshole. And Mr. White is in this. I'm kind of shocked by that, honestly, because like, this has a really good cast, and they're not really doing all that much. In fact, like, apart from Leslie Mann, everyone in this movie is just very unpleasant to watch, and it's hard to get invested because you don't really care. You don't really care about Robert De Niro's journey because, again, there's no reason to root for him. There's no reason to like him. The conflicts movie is often so forced and contrived. It's like, there's no reason to get invested in what's going on. There's no reason to care how this ends. And it ends in just the same unpleasant way that it began. And it's just, there's no... there's no reason for this movie to really exist. It doesn't... It's just a forgettable movie about stand-up comedians when there's a lot better movies about stand-up comedians that came out this year. I mean, by God, go see The Big Sick. Big Sick is an amazing film. I love that film. It's all about it's about stand-up comedians, and it's way better than this, because, you know, there's actually clever jokes in there rather than, oh look, you're old, I'm gonna make an old joke at you now. Oh, you're a lesbian, so I'm gonna call you all kinds of offensive slurs and do this and that. Just fucking bullshit. I'm gonna make fun of Danny DeVito because he's Danny DeVito. It's yeah. I mean, I don't even know what to fucking say at this point. It's just, this isn't gonna make my worst list by a stretch of imagination. It's not even close to one of the worst films I've ever seen. It's just unremarkable. There's really not a whole lot to this, and I'm probably gonna forget most about this movie by the time next week rolls around. So, yeah, that's The Comedian. I don't really have a lot to say about it. So I think that's all I got. I know this is a short review. Maybe you're hoping for something longer. Maybe there's something more to say. Sorry, I just didn't get a whole lot out of this. It was just devoid of life, and yeah, at the end of it, more like, it felt like, well, that's an hour and 50 minutes that just happened, and I got nothing. Like, really, like, it was really just the last act where it became really painful to watch, because you have the drama where, spoiler, turns out Robert De Niro knocked up Leslie Mann, and there's this whole like forced drama scene where they're yelling at each other, and then he gets a confrontation with Mr. White, who plays Leslie Mann's dad, and Robert De Niro's just a dick to him for the sake of being a dick to him. And then they go off in a big huff, and then they come back and they patch things up. But it's all done like a 5-minute span. Upwards, he has this whole sequence in a comic some kind of convention, where he makes shock humor, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're so funny." Really, the movie feels so self-congratulatory, and that, maybe not self-congratulatory, more like they're trying to convince you really hard that Robert De Niro is funny by having everyone else tell you that Robert De Niro is funny. fuck, man. I don't know what to, I don't know. Any conflict, it just mixes between conflict that feels very forced and not much else happening. There's a whole sequence that's like, you didn't need this. This added nothing. You could have easily cut this out. Nothing would have been missed. Like, there's a cameo by Billy Crystal in there that it comes and goes in about 5 seconds. It adds nothing. You could have easily cut it. It's more just say, hey, we got Billy Crystal to do a cameo for 5 seconds. A lot of scenes come and go with no real purpose, no real drive. It doesn't really go anywhere. There's a scene with where like he gets invited to a roast for like an old comedian. She dies on stage. It's never brought up again. It really doesn't add much to the plot. It's just there and it's gone, and you're left wondering, okay, that's a thing that happened. There was a lot of times in the movie I just kind of threw my hands like, well, that's a thing that just happened. I don't know why it happened. It just happened. And that kind of sums up the movie in a nutshell. It just happened. And I don't have to say it through again. And it's not the worst Robert De Niro comedy I've seen in the past few years, so there's that. Yeah. It's just forgettable. So, I think I'm gonna, as far as movies that came, I got a long list of movies I gotta catch up on. I'm gonna try to do it as much as I can in the next few weeks. Try to just clear out the list before the next year starts. I'm gonna focus on movies that, like I think it's important, focus on movies that came out this year first. So I think the next one I have on my list for movies that came out this year is Going in Style, which I think is another old man comedy movie. And after that, there's quite a few. Personal Shoppers, When Marine Was Here, stuff like that. I don't know if I'll have stuff on my head, but I'll try to get through them as fast as I can. Now that I actually have more free time next week because of Christmas and all that stuff. I got a break from work. But if there's anything you want me to see that might be a contender for best or worst films of this year, let me know now so I can watch it before I formulate my final list. If there's anything I missed that you want me to see, now's the time to tell me. So I think, I also want to check out Wind River because Sarah's been really asking me to go see that one. So I'll probably check out Wind River too. But yeah, if there's anything else you guys want me to see, just leave me a comment, send me a message, send me an email at michaelthecomicnerd@gmail.com, and I'll check it out ASAP. 2017 movies get top priority right now. So just let me know. I'll go watch it, and thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, the usual, and I'll see you all next time.